Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is NewsHour Agenda and I'm Heena Gambhir. Let's first tell you what you can expect in the next 1 hour. Viewers, was the near-death experience on board the IndiGo airplane avoidable? We ask you this because yesterday 227 passengers went through the horrifying ordeal, and tomorrow it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody. What really happened on board the IndiGo plane? We have a super exclusive news break lined up for you tonight on the NewsHour Agenda. Next, we put the focus on safety of our Bollywood celebrities months after Saif Ali Khan was stabbed inside his own house. 2 intrusions in 2 days at Salman Khan's Galaxy apartments have raised an alarm. Are Bollywood celebrities on target? Later on the NewsHour Agenda, we put the focus on the gold smuggling probe in Karnataka, and now it appears that a Congress leader, a top minister in Karnataka government, is under the scanner for an alleged payment to actor Rania Rao. Is there more than what meets the eye? That's going to be the story number 3. Viewers, it was nothing short of a miraculous escape for 227 passengers of the IndiGo flight. These passengers were traveling from Delhi to Srinagar last night when suddenly a violent hailstorm caused turbulence and panic mid-air. Cabin shook violently. Tray tables were struggling to remain shut during the terrifying mid-air turbulence. Now, this happened when IndiGo flight 6E2142 was very close to Srinagar, its destination. This prompted the pilot to declare emergency as per the protocol. The flight landed safely. All passengers, including the TMC MPs who were on board, are safe. The visuals show the nose of the plane getting severely damaged. Take a look at some of the videos that have been shared by some passengers. We all travel by air. Imagine the plight of the passengers in a situation like this. There was panic, there were screams, and there were prayers. But thankfully, all landed safely. But this was also an experience that these 227 passengers will never be able to forget. The visuals on your screens will also give you a sense of the damage that the aircraft suffered during the course of its flight. Passengers as well as experts are appreciating the pilot for a safe landing. Many say this is a result of skill and quick thinking. Passengers, in fact, are also appreciating the crew members here for saving their lives. But look at the damage here, and that gives you a sense of how bad the situation really was, how bad the hailstorm was at that point in time, that the plane's nose was badly damaged. And that's our debate number 1 on NewsHour Agenda this evening.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And on the show today, viewers, I'm joined by two of the passengers who were inside this particular plane, who were traveling from Delhi to Srinagar yesterday evening, who will explain to us what exactly had happened, how bad was the situation. We have Ubair Shah, a passenger who was inside this particular plane, and Owais Maqbool Hakim, who is a passenger of IndiGo as well. We will also be joined by two other guests, Captain Amit Singh, aviation expert and founder, Safety Matters Foundation. We will also be joined by Captain Meenu Wadia, founder, president of Federation of Indian Pilots. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. Ubair Shah, I want to ask you first, can you explain to our viewers what exactly had happened last evening inside the plane?
Yeah, I think the flight was on schedule. So the flight departed at around 6 from Delhi. So like after half an hour, the flight was like flying normally. And suddenly we had an announcement from the pilot that there would be a rough weather approach. We are approaching a rough weather. So as per the protocol, we were told to, everyone was told to be seated and fasten the seat belts, because we even thought just it's a normal, because I have been traveling frequently, so the turbulence is a normal occurrence in a flight. So it was, everything was going normally, but I think within couple of minutes the complete scenario changed. The flight was in middle of chaos. The flight was a lot of thunder. There were a lot of lightning around, and the flight was actually taken to the toss. We were like, it was really scary, and everybody was frightened inside the plane, and people were crying. People were helping, for hoping that if things go fine, praying. And there was like a lot of chaos inside the flight, and at some point also we felt that the flight has drastically lost the elevation also. So it was very scary, and we could hear some noises also outside. Probably it was the noises of the hailstorm that I can imagine. But it was of course, it was a very scary situation that I think it lasted for around 8 to 10 minutes. But thankfully, thanks to God, and thanks to the pilot, I think he could bring back the flight to the control. He was able to manage to bring it under control, everything under control. But of course, it was very scary. But
it was scary. You're telling us that it lasted almost 8 to 10 minutes, and we can't even imagine what you all were going through inside that plane, because we all have traveled by air, and even for a few moments, if there is turbulence, we all get extremely scared and there's panic. But imagine dealing with this kind of a situation for 8 to 10 minutes. I mean, clearly it was a very difficult moment, but thankfully all the passengers are safe. Stay on with us, Ubair Shah. Owais Maqbool Hakim, can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Good evening. I think I also shared experiences what I had, because I have been a frequent flyer from last 16 years. I have been flying, and quite frequently, and I have had some of my experiences in Srinagar weather, whether it comes in when it's snowing in Kashmir, or some other time also. But this was completely brutal experience for me on a personal level, because the flight lost its elevation at a rapid rate. When we travel in air and we see elevation dropping maybe 200 feet or 300 feet at once, but it didn't happen. The first turbulence, when it happened, I thought it's mere because of the weather, is deformity in the weather or something like that. But there was a very nose dip. After a couple of minutes, there was a nose dip. The flight took a drastic dip towards in the front of the nose. And that's when I thought, and the electricity also went off in the plane. So my first instance was the lightning has struck, because I am from engineering background and I have been in electrical engineering. So my first guess was there was a lightning strike, because it was quite brutal. And since the plane lost its electricity and it was a drastic downdraft of the aircraft. So I thought maybe because of that, maybe the engines have lost their power and something like that. And it was brutal. Everyone was praying, everyone was screaming, and there was kids all around. There were some very little kids that were around 4 or 5 years of age. It was a very scary moment for all of us. But thankfully, I also said in a previous interview that one should pray to God that we all were safe, and we should make an appeal to the government that they should give the pilot some kind of a gallantry award, because he pulled off something which is not very easy to pull off. And you can fight weather, but you cannot fight weather with a damaged aircraft, and that is something he has pulled off. He is a massive respect for him. Very, very, very grateful.
That's the sense we have got from the passengers that we've spoken to so far, and they're all appreciating, in fact, the courage, the way the pilot dealt with this entire situation, landed safely. All the passengers are safe. Stay with us, gentlemen. We have some big breaking news coming in at this point in time. We have an exclusive news break now on the IndiGo incident. Was this near-death experience avoidable? Well, top sources have told Times Now that the plane was near Pathankot when the weather changed suddenly. Now, as per sources, the crew contacted Pakistan. Yes, viewers, the Pakistani authority was contacted because we were very, very close to the Pakistani airspace. The Pakistani authority was contacted to avoid the turbulence and escape the bad weather. If Pakistan had allowed the plane to enter its airspace briefly, listen to this very carefully, viewers. This is what we have learned. If Pakistan had allowed the plane to enter its airspace briefly also, the near-death experience that you just heard about, from two of the passengers who are live with us right now, it could have been avoided. Yes, the permission by Pakistan was denied. Permission was denied by Pakistan completely. The IndiGo crew reached out to Pakistani authority and the permission was denied. Pakistan refused it. Pakistan did not allow the plane to enter its airspace. We have also learned from sources, reliable sources, that the turbulence continued for a few minutes. You just got a confirmation that it was at least for 8 to 10 minutes that the situation remained like how it was, how we've seen the visuals. For 8 to 10 minutes, the turbulence continued. Thankfully, no passenger received any kind of injury. So was this near-death experience avoidable? Well, if Pakistan perhaps had allowed the plane to briefly come into its airspace and then head towards Srinagar, maybe. Let's ask the experts who are also live with us, Captain Amit Singh and Captain Meenu Wadia. Captain Amit Singh, how will you like to respond?
Well, this was, you have to see the enormity of the situation. This was not just a cloud. This was like a combination of 10 or 12 thunderstorms. We call it a line squall. And it extends about 400 to 600 kilometers. And it was like the aircraft was going north towards Srinagar, and this was across the flight path from east to west, moving from the east to west. And that area in particular, Pathankot area, is a chicken's neck, very narrow. The international border is very close. On the other side, you have high terrain and you have multiple traffic. So this complicates the whole situation. The need of the hour is planning on ground. If you do adequate planning, you can choose a better route based on the weather movement. So that is for the people on ground to plan and carry sufficient fuel for exigencies. So all these things will come out in the investigation once it happens. But the enormity of the situation is that developing thundercloud can throw the aircraft up and down 5,000 feet per minute, which was what the passengers experienced. So in the flight radar also, we can see the rate of climb went up to 2,500 feet per minute, then down 5,000 feet per minute. So the passengers would have experienced so many more G forces, which they are not used to, at least close to 1.5 to 2 Gs. The aircraft can bear about 2.5, beyond which there could be some structural issues. You see the nose damaged. That is nothing, because the nose is it is not made of aluminum alloy, does not have the strength because the radar is inside. So it has to be made of Kevlar or something so for the radiation to pass. But the more important and safety-related issue is the hailstorm, which could be of the size of a golf ball. Not just the size, the speed, about 500 kilometers an hour hitting the aircraft, the body, the engines. In fact, a number of aircrafts internationally, the first aircraft which landed with both engines failed was in the US. They entered a similar cloud, hailstorms, both engines failed, and they had to land in a grassy patch. That was a 737 in 1988. So this is a bigger danger, not the nose cone breaking. That will increase your fuel consumption by about 5%. But had the windscreen shattered, which has happened in the past, so that the visibility of the pilots deteriorate. And if they say that lights went out briefly, that could be a possible engine flame out and it came back again. So the aircraft engines have some kind of a protection from such outages, but briefly it could happen. So that is a possibility when a lot of water enters the engines, because engines are basically combustion. So high amount of water. So all those things are of bigger concern than the radome, the nose, which is visibly damaged. But we don't know what the state of the engine is, the fan, the blades, how much damage they have suffered, the wing structure, how much G the aircraft has. So that will come out later. But if you see the flight radar, other aircrafts which were passing later on, one of the IndiGo aircraft diverted to Chandigarh. They did not proceed because the expanse of the clouds, and other aircrafts were going towards Dehradun, towards the east side, rather than getting constricted yourself or pushing yourself to this constricted area from where maneuverability is very less. When we talk about Pakistan, if you declare a Mayday, then every country, be it closed defense airfield, they have to open as per international protocol. So once you declare a Mayday, which means the aircraft is not in a state in which you can fly safely. So we have to...
Meenu Wadia, that's an important point Captain Amit Singh has raised. But in this case, I don't think Mayday was declared. Is it different from the emergency that was declared by the pilot, in this case? Can you explain what happened?
First of all, this obviously has gone through a thunderstorm. And as Captain Amit Singh explained, we have multiple thunderstorms as cumulonimbus clouds. It's not just one cloud. When multiple clouds get together, it creates a line squall. So even though the pilot in his cockpit, he has a picture of the weather, and he can see where the clouds are, where the weather. Very often he cannot avoid it, even if he tries to go between the clouds or go around it. It may be difficult to go around it. But as you explained, if a Pakistani area was open, and yes, if the pilot had declared an emergency, after all, for safety of the passengers and the crew, the pilot is the final authority. So in his opinion, if it was absolutely necessary for him not to jeopardize the safety of the aircraft and passengers, he could have declared an emergency and gone into Pakistani airspace, and they had to. There was no question of that granting permission or no permission. Emergency is an emergency, and they had to accept it in any case to start with. Secondly, the damage that is seen on the nose, it is apparent and most people can see it. And that is why that seems to be the most important part where the damage has taken place. And as Captain Amit Singh also explained, there are multiple things which must have happened also. That is your hailstorms. And this could be something like a lightning strike also, which can damage the aircraft. There have been cases where aircraft have been severely damaged due to lightning strike. So what exactly has happened and why this damage has taken place, only a detailed investigation will... we've just seen photographs of it, which do not give us a very clear picture. So the safety of the passengers was paramount. And yes, no pilot in his wisdom will want to go through a thunderstorm. He is bothered about his own life, for the passengers and the aircraft, and he will take all necessary precautions. So if he thought it was necessary, he could have declared an emergency and gone into Pakistan also. So
but we have learned from sources that the crew did approach Pakistani authorities. Permission was denied, and that is the reason why Plan B perhaps was put in place. Gentlemen, request you to stay on with us. We have some more breaking news coming in, breaking inputs on this big story, viewers. We are now learning that the DGCA has started looking into the matter. DGCA probe in this case has begun. That's what top sources have told Times Now. Weather had changed quite dramatically and all of a sudden, due to which the crew had to take immediate action as per the protocol. The update is DGCA is probing the turbulence incident as far as IndiGo's plane is concerned. That was going from Delhi to Srinagar yesterday evening. The weather changed suddenly, and sources have also told Times Now that crew took the right call. This is what they have found as far as the preliminary probe is concerned, and that's the reason why they are now looking at other aspects, which involves that if there are constraints, for example, in this case, Pakistani airspace was closed. So if there are constraints in situations like these, what is it that can be done? So from that lens, the investigation is happening. That's what the DGCA is looking at. Let me just take a quick reaction on this from Captain Amit Singh. What will you say, in a situation like this, the inputs that we have got? Because what we have learned from reliable sources that, of course, Pakistan was approached. There is a protocol. They are supposed to give permission, but Pakistan refused, is what we have learned. And the latest information is that DGCA will also be looking into the situation from the lens that if there are constraints like we had this time, what should be done and what is it that the crew members did?
See, in the past, a similar situation has arisen, and both the countries, like Indian Airlines, has gone a few miles inside Pakistan to avoid weather. Similarly, their aircraft have come inside. So this is a civilian issue. And if somebody declares a mayday, we understand the sovereignty of the airspace above Pakistan is theirs, above India is India's. But the ICAO, the United Nations, also says that no nation can be selective in discrimination, that one airline will not be permitted, others will be permitted. So as the situation stands now, Indian airlines are not permitted in Pakistan, whereas other airlines are flying. So that is against the norms or recommendations of the International Civil Aviation Organization. And this is jeopardizing air safety. It is happening here, but airlines coming, or Indian airlines coming from the Gulf to India, there would be a stretch wherein the only alternate would be Karachi. Like they have diverted to Karachi before. So in case of any eventuality, an engine fire, uncontrollable, you have to put the aircraft down. Where to go except Karachi? So they cannot say, no, we will not accept an Indian aircraft. So this is as per the international protocol. So they have to accept. So if a pilot declares emergency, mayday, the moment he says mayday, all airfields are supposed to be open at his disposal.
Okay.
So that is the protocol. There is no question asked, because which is the bigger danger? Here, the bigger threat is the weather, not Pakistani airspace.
Well, we'll see officially what comes out after the investigation in this matter. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on this particular discussion. And we are getting some more breaking inputs on this story. IndiGo, the airline in this case, has released another statement on the hailstorm horror on board the IndiGo flight 6E2142. The statement reads, and I quote, IndiGo flight 6E2142 from Delhi to Srinagar navigated a sudden hailstorm and landed safely at Srinagar International Airport. All customers were attended to upon landing. No injuries were reported. Let me go across to my colleague Arunil joining us with this piece of information. Arunil, give us more details. This is the second statement coming in from IndiGo. Do we have more details about the probe, etc., damage to aircraft?
Well, certainly, yes. IndiGo has given out its second statement saying that maintenance and inspection of the concerned flight is being carried out in Srinagar, and only after due clearance have been given, then only the flight will be given permission to basically further take off. Another important update that we are understanding, Heena, is as per our sources, DGCA certainly, as you rightly pointed out, has initiated its investigation. But also from sources we are getting to understand that the pilot pilot in command, understanding that there was heavy turbulence, there was inclement weather. He basically had reportedly contacted the Lahore ATC as well, Lahore Air Traffic Control Room. However, the permission was denied to enter into Pakistani airspace. That is what we are understanding. It is certainly been looked into. This is a part of the discussion from IndiGo with the DGCA. Everything has been put up by the airline company, that is IndiGo Airlines, in the investigation that has been initiated by the DGCA as well. However, we also spoke to Muralidhar Mohol, who is the MOS Civil Aviation. He confirmed the fact. He praised the pilot in command as well as the crew members for ensuring all the 227 members on board, basically flyers on board, their safety was granted. It was assured by the pilot in command and the crew members as well. But yes, he also mentioned about the fact that why exactly, despite the inclement weather, sudden inclement weather, the aircraft was caught up or entangled in such kind of a turbulent weather. That is also being studied by the DGCA.
All right. Thank you very much, Arunil, for the moment, for joining us with your inputs on this story.